About of the current affair related. So I will discuss about of the mains related number of question asked in the mains examination. So let I start now. Today is the article PIB, and you see that is the inside app also available in Hindi. PIB notes available, and the daily quiz also available, and All India Radio, Raj Sabha TV and Lok Sabha also TV summaries available. So then you decide how to relevant for the examination perspective. Then you find very as well as. So then daily debates and the Raj Sabha TV and Lok Sabha TV that called of the merge of the Sunset TV, and article related in these terms. So when I discuss about of the current and the GS topic wise, then to follow as the inside app. First you go to daily current affair, then you have create your ID, and then आज 16 August है, then I will discuss. Then you have realize how many article important is in this examination, and you will relevant for the mains and inside current affairs PIB summary and 16 August. Then you have click now, and then you decide how many question asked in the prelims examination. So then you have look at the topic. Your first topic is the GS2 papers, diplomacy of the Viksit Bharat. Your relevant for the GS polity as well as governance, and your IR cover करेगा. Then your third paper also the economic section. In the coming, what is the role in I have celebrated is the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in the 75-year independence of this British freedom. And then you have found the mains examination also the essay question asked this type. Why the achievement of the 75 Independence Day celebrate India? And this is the you have know the Prime Minister Modi in the 9th on the elaborated in the overall people 130 crore people in this country. And then the CAG reported to the convection of the coastal ecosystem. Then you have realized how many topic important in the examinations, and you have know the context of the main environment, the context of the main and achievement for the ethics and essay, and the perfect decomposition, and the apology of the discrimination against the indigenous peoples, and the against the freedom of speech. You have article freedom of speech 21, and right to freedom and speech, and article 19 also you have refer them. आर्टिकल 119 का 1A सब क्लॉज and 19 का सब क्लॉज B you have defined. Then you have some prelims perspective news also relevant for your examination. Curtailing governments in the power and the NEV, this is the news. And the also prelims question asked the which is the relevant for this examination. Roshni, it is the new scheme. You have learned first your root words. Root words you have learned lot of information. What is the indication of the Roshni? Roshni, you have and your thought on your mind, just a click and the light, that is some mention of light. And the theroside trap, it is the theroside trap is the scientific news. All India Football Federation, FIFA and IFA, it is the India boycott and the FIFA Federation and then All India Football Federation and then you have the quantum key. You have no also question asked who cubic is the key of quantum computer, the unit of the measurement of the. Then you have realized also question may be asked and also question can be also asked in this examination. You have trackers and you had the tracking of the stem burning. What is the biosphere fuel? You have realized the Punjab and the paddy. It is also Biogenous Corneas is the Nippon Minis and the LAC and the FAC. It is the first defense sectors. It is the own defense system can be created by the future and the influences. It is the also system that the problems important diplomatic of the विकसित भारत. यू हैव इंटरनेशनल आपका आ जाएगा इसमें. तो देन यू हैव रियलाइज द इंटरनेट. अगर आप सोर्स की बात करेंगे तो सोर्स आपका इंडियन एक्सप्रेस हो गया. इंडियन एक्सप्रेस इसका सोर्स हो गया. And then you have realized a lot of you have read down and then you have go through this examination. Can be number of question asked in the examination. You have first your choice and then you have realized how many question can be asked in the examinations. So first I know what is the importance of this. You have searched inside app and then you have the first current affair, then click and the inside current affair opens and then you have realized your first dash. This is the current affair 16 August. Then you have the click and then you have clicked in 16 August 17 August and then you have just go through on the diplomacy of because विकसित भारत की क्या रणनीति है and the country coming 94. That is the also question asked in the mains examination because I celebrating India independence in the 74th day of the Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav Amrit Kal and this is the and you have realized lot of question asked. It is the definitely ask the question and how many question asked. The first is the diplomacy of the Viksit Bharat. You have the source. I have also asked your GS first paper, your GS second paper, your polity and the governance IR cover and this is the source of Indian Express. तो the C. Raj Mohan and the article are the आप that you have realized a lot of newspaper C. R. Raja Mohan. It is the maximum of the editorial discussion of the IR section. Lot of aspirant of this examination can be know of the C. R. Raja Mohan. It is the also and the rooted to need of the make notes and the context क्या है. The PM outlined a new ambitions of the make India development country Viksit Bharat in 2074. I had then celebrated at the 100 year in independence and must be addressed the foreign policy challenges of the Viksit Bharat, because I boycott the foreign goods, and I have realized the self awareness. You are self sufficient. You have no what is the self sufficient. I have no dependent on the China semiconductor Taiwan. Also I have own indigenous. They have banned the games like 12 below the 1200 1200 price. Then you have the overcome colonies legally, understand the provision of heritage, the resolution of the problem, and then you have lot of individual and also resolution added the connective challenges. The BIMSTEC South Asia का क्या रोड क्वाड है, जैसे एग्जाम्पल में you have given South Asia country like South Asia and beyond, the example BIMSTEC, BRICS, Shanghai Cooperation and the Quads also. And you have imagined the address of the Chinese policy, because the growing up the gap between the Chinese terms of the defined to the trade and the cloth. And the China has been asset to the across the Asian and development the build a stronger partnership between the other major क्या है the power sector में हम the partnership should be the based on the negotiations and the mutually benefit to the term. India should be always exercise the extent of the autonomy. So you have realized this topic can be learned and build a stronger partnership other with major power, taking a leadership आपके पास होना चाहिए that is sufficient for your examination. You have tackled the global world, because the China was the biggest GDP in the world. India must be the taken global leadership and the management of the environment and the concerns are organize the stability of economic order and addressing challenging the climate change and the pandemic. द प्रेशर एंड द मल्टीलाइजेशंस क्या है, G20 में है, यूएनओ में क्या भूमिका, वीटो पावर किसके पास, एंड द WTO, व्हाट इज द रोल ऑफ द WTO इन द इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट, and the agents of the Africa and the Latin America and the Oceania. Oceania is the like a part of the Australia, and that is the Melanesia, Polynesia and Micronesia, and different types of the country like a island country lived in this. The domestic challenge in the needed the providing the social justice and internal unity and economics and the modernizations of the indigenous deep of the basis sea. And you have realized a lot of, and that is the question, you have link on the referral and the mains. India need to the integrated of the foreign policy in can be responsible and improve to the building of the domestic capability development, the e-governments and the partnership of the construction geopolitics and the like mind of the examine. So you have this question and the 120 words and the 15 minutes, and you have only 9 minutes this time. Not enough in you have taken the 9 minute enough, because the time management is the best key. You have done lot of 20 question in this examination, 20 question, and the 10 question was the 120 words and 10 marker, and the 10 question was the 15 marker, and the 150 250 words, and the total number of 250. Then you have realized the time management is the best important key. You can, and then move on the other next topic related to the GS exam, GS paper 3. GS paper 3 you have realized the coming India, because this is the also asked in the mains examination, because today I be celebrated of the independence of the 75 years. And the science and technology also. The source of the Hindu hai. You have read the Hindu newspaper, you will be understand what be the relevant for this examination, what be not relevant for this examination. Direction go through the once. You have once time you read the construction even after 25 the independence of the spend margin of the 0 point in the GDP research of the development. Why I have lot of in that science and technology DRDO ISRO and the also launch of the today SLV small language GSLV PSLV polar satellite also have many researchers in this field. Why India can be not investment of the GDP of the science and technology field. Even the fund which is the remittance for the margins available issue. क्या issue है? What is the issue? Student have the stunting and the funding agency. Lack of transparency have fund of the distribution and the extensive delay have fund for the distribution outside the project system outcome of the researcher. And you have realized lot of challenges can be and what is the requirement can be improve your GDP and also science and technology field because the China and the fundamental policy change by the requirement the speeding 4% of the national GDP in the science and the Israel and South Korea is the spending of the 4% of the GDP because there is the Israel you have a lot of the in the drone system that the any missile can be the affected not affected because there is the anti-defection they can be the build on way. You have realized lot of Israel and South Korea he is the also spending on the budget in the 4 to 5% because there is the requirement and the enemy of lot of because Israel is the also disputed area in the Gaza Patti and other issue that is the Israel can be not a part of. You have realized Israel has spending 4% GDP of the South Korea. South Korea is the maximum of this country like a South Korea and North Korea because there is the lot of distributed of the North Korea and South Korea. The North Korea is the also and South Korea is the also good relation of China and GDP and the building physical and intellectual infrastructure across the country especially for the university. The global competition industrial administration for standard ensuring the individual instrument and the scientific society and individual empowerment you have given and this is the question this question investment of infrastructure you should first you introduce of the investment and first your this and then you essentially for more rapidly including the economic growth then you have the second answer this question discuss you have relevant critical analysis and comments discuss it is the lightly you have searched on Google how many can be the agar only given of the discuss and the critical analyze and the discuss illuminate and the evaluate critically you have learned the light of the experience then you have concluded your answers in valid point you have given your positive and negative that is the balance point you have the put of the introduction your introduction you have quiz introduction you have given a question then you have the your conclusion you have given a solution how can solve it that's a measurement of the answer then you have realized your polity section CAG report to the and the coastal ecosystem environmental conservation that is the source of the Hindu and you have related down to the earth magazine This magazine very relevant for this geography sections. And you have also read this type of magazine like Yojana and Kurukshetra, because there is the current affair related news in this examination, very useful. You have followed it, so you have realized this is the tagging formation. Then move on the next topic, backgrounds क्या है. Then you have more the coastal distribution. What is the ecosystem? Because you have read out the Western Ghat. You have like these type of the Western Ghat. These are the Eastern Ghat, Eastern and Western coastal district, and they have the coastal zone regulation. First coastal zone, second your coastal zone regulation, and third coastal zone regulation, and the rural areas third and B. You have read this topic, you have understand what is the distribution of the CAG in this time. फिर the coastal regulation zone you have learned, then you click the coastal zone regulation. You have lot of information up there. That is I have also introduced you on the next. What is the blue carbon? Blue carbon, you have many times of the UPSC asked the question blue time. What is the blue carbon? You have no first the blue carbon occupied the ocean coastal ecosystem, the carbon sequence in the forest biometric agriculture soil, that is no. And you have read the coastal is the sea related, because you have explanation the critically examine. I have also in this previous question I have related to the comments, how the comments you can answer, and how you have written comment and discuss and illuminate and justice. You have the conclude your answer is the first conclusion given. Introduction, you have given introduction, because your all of your question in this short summary of your introductions. So that is my way, and your other way you have different types of the way. Then is the other important news is the rivers, which is the source of the Jharkhand. Then you have realized a lot of practice in the preliminary. Two important rivers, it be the source of the Jharkhand known as the different name of the उड़ीसा में उसको दूसरा माना. another is the source of Odisha in the major place in the south of the dishes of the coast of the Bay of Bengal. Before the flowing in the sea, this is the important wildlife sanctuary. Wildlife and the biodiversity protection, which is of the following is the could be this, because you have no in this in the Chandipur of the sea, because there is the Odisha coast Chandipur, and the Gopeshwar of the sea Simlipal also your Odisha. Then you have realized you have the Vitarkarika. Vitarkarika is the these types, and there is the Vitarkarika National Park and the Oli Trade Turtle, because they have the birth in place of the this section of the sand particles like a clay and sand. This is the type of the question can be prelims also ask this is the way of solving the question. I like it this. Then you move on the other section like other context of for the mains your ethics portions. Then you have realized against the freedom of speech. You have also seen the Rushdie. This is the biggest news in this against the freedom of speech, violate of the fundamental right your violate, because article 19(1), article 19 sub clause 1 2 right to speech, right to any can be the seated. That the Salman Rushdie was the journalist person. The stay may be the speaking of the and the New York. The freedom of speech, how the author for the target to refusing to the wave award and the static vision. That is the Rushdie was the biggest person on the Salman Rushdie is the also called fact of the prelims. Kerala cabinet cleared the bill in the critical censorship of power of the vessel in the source of the Hindu Indian Express. You have related this child mortality rate. The child mortality has been the despite on the 30 in per of the thousand in the live. You have the mother's child mortality and total fertility rate because the out of 100 children in the birth and then the third 35 children had been died out of 1000 children, that called up the child mortality rate in the birth. The source of Hindu, the child mortality as India has been reduced since because 2017 14 is the India child mortality rate is the 5. Out of 1000 is the 25, and then you have reduced, and that is the thesis as in 2019, and the Palam International campaign for the promoting was the early childhood development. In the focus and the cognitive of development in the child is the first 2 years in the life and the progress of the allegation for the Shastri Bal Shastra Kalyan, that is scheme included by the 1000 days. And you have also significance what is the relevant for this, and the significance for the first theory that the period is stability to the solid platform and critical physical and mental emotional and the conscious social during the health and the period child needed to the right to musicians of the love for the support. That is the biggest news. And you have related that is the one other. You have the full form also asked in the source of NEVA. I don't know, but I you have the context kya hai, the one nation one application, that is the news. One nation one application is the begin for employment. National Vidhan application, that is the full form, and national e-Vidhan is the portal all of the legislatures and the country together opening. The benefits kya hai? Paperless assembly, that is the very big news because the paperless, the maximum cut of the tree and the putting of the pollutant on this country like a reduce, and that is the so much, and the automate for entering law making the process, and the cloud technology in the Meghraj allow to the data acceleration anywhere. That is the scheme very relevant for this mains examination because any have the achievement of the these types of the relevant for the environmental and the human disease also infected, then we related to the mains examination. You have learned also question may be asked these types because number of question asked UPSC be related. The Himachal Pradesh of the digital legislature first country, and the provided of the e-Vidya is the mission mode is the project and the digital program under the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. I like it this scheme because there is the e-waste and e-paper, and the also like cutting the paper wooden type because all of Indian newspaper reading national e-Vidhan application, all the national district 28 and the 7 UT 8 UT also, then including easy to use, that is some technology can be easy to use, also eco-friendly there is the no environmental pollution, and the digital house and the information that is also Roshni. I have learned the Roshni schemes. You have related to the Roshni because very relevant for this examination. So you have the source business standard. You have also refer this newspaper because business. I have no suggestion to you have read the business standard. You have read on the Indian Express as well as the Hindu. You have first you have target one newspaper.